Hello. So I had a video um, where I was going to do some cleaning and detailing on this Amazing Spider-Man 129, which is for a customer. Um, I recorded it, and then the video was corrupt, so I lost it, unfortunately. So I'm going to go over a little bit of what I was talking about, just because this book was such a good example of things that cleaning, detailing, and pressing can and cannot address. There are so many of both on this book. Um, so I talked about that and a number of other things. So I was really bummed that I lost it, but I didn't want to lose the opportunity. So there are a number of issues with this book. I'm sure on camera right now, looking at the front like this, it looks really nice, and it is fairly clean. But once you get down into it, you start to see some of the issues. In the front definitely is a lot better than the back, but we'll get to the back in just a second. Um, so, what are the major issues with this issue? Gonna have to move the camera around probably quite a bit here. The biggest problem with the front. Let's see if I can get it. Kind of see it there. So there's a fairly large crease. You can see, or maybe you can't see. Okay, let's focus. Right here. This actually goes throughout the book. We'll see it on the back too. So we'll go through all the pages and everything. But it's a fairly significant crease. What's good about it is that it does not break color. And by break color, what it means like you don't see the white of the paper underneath coming through. The ink itself, even though the book creased, the ink stayed together and didn't break with itself. So you're not seeing the white of the paper underneath. So that's good. So this can press out. It might take a little extra time, might take a few rounds because it is such a significant crease, but it didn't color break, so that's good. So we can address this, hopefully to the point where it looks like it was never there on the front here. There's a bunch of other just little incidental creases and other little things on here that we'll be able to press out. This you probably can't really see. It looks like maybe it's kind of hard to. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to show it. Like maybe there was some writing done, not writing on the cover, but this was used as a writing surface. Um, so I'll hopefully be able to get that stuff out. And just generally, it's not super flat. You can probably do a little something about that. So what are the things that on the front that we can't do anything about? So here we see in the Sea of Jackal, you see this is more of a color break, right? It's probably a small little crease, but it did break the color. You can see where actually seeing looks like yellow underneath, like they did a layer of yellow and then maybe they did this red on top of it, so you're seeing yellow underneath there. It's kind of strange. There's some color fading and smearing here. Can't do anything about that. Up in the corner, there's a crease that color breaks. That's probably kind of hard to see. This might be a better angle. You can see the color break here. And also you might be able to see it a little bit here. There's a pretty good scratch here. One lighter going up here. And some other scratches throughout that are kind of tough to see. So those can't really do much for that stuff. So in the things that we can address on the front, and there was quite a bit of grime and stuff, but I already cleaned it, but lost the video to it, unfortunately. So the grime that was on here, able to address, obviously cleaned that up pretty well. The creases can address anything with a color break. It can press the crease out, but the color break is still going to be there. You'll be able to notice that there was a crease there at some point, but hopefully it'll be flat. Yeah, the grime, the incidental little creases, the big crease here, cannot do anything about the color break. The smearing, the color break here. Obviously, other things like the fraying of the corner and stuff like that can't do anything about. That stuff would have to be addressed with, or could be addressed with a restoration, doing sort of color touch-ups and things like that. That is not something that I do. I might do another video on that and talk about why. Actually, in the previous video I did, because I had time to fill while I was actually working on the book, I talked a little bit about why I don't do color restoration. But it's just not something I'm interested in doing for a couple of reasons. But restoration could fix some of the color breaks and stuff like that. It's just, that's not something that I do. And obviously one of the big downsides of that is if you get it graded, you'll get a restored grade. The value of it is drastically changed by doing restoration. Looking at the back, we see some of the same issues. This, though, we have a pretty good crunch here on the corner. You can see that's crunched. Should be able to get that out mostly, if not completely. The back also was very grimy, but was able to clean it up in the previous video. Here we can start to see where the crease from the front, it actually goes through the entire book. And on the back there's actually two of them, but from here the big one goes all the way from the top all the way down to here, almost throughout the entire book. And unfortunately here there is color breaks. So we'll be able to flatten it out, but not be able to get rid of the color breaks without restoration, which again is not something that I do or have any desire to do. It's just, it's not for me. I don't agree with it on a fundamental level. There also is some water damage here, or some sort of liquid damage you can see in the corner, and can't do much about that. Can't do anything about that either. But there's a lot of just general. There's a pretty good indentation here, and probably was used as a writing surface at some point. So a lot of this will be able to flatten it out really nicely, but cannot do anything about the color breaks or the or the liquid, whatever liquid damage is done there. But that's it. Going to be a fairly short video for this one because, again, the intent was to kind of go over this and talk about related stuff as I worked on it, but already worked on it. But I didn't want to lose the opportunity to talk about some of these things. Can and can't do. Cleaning and pressing versus restoration. The cleaning and detailing is stuff that we're removing stuff from the book. We're removing grime. Flattening out is putting it back to its original state. Things with restoration is when you're adding to the book. You're doing color touch-up. You're adding color to it. You are fixing paper. You're replacing pages. you're adding to something that wasn't originally there, and that's where you get into restoration. You get restored grades and things like that. It can definitely make the book look very nice, but it does put it in a different class. What is sort of a lower class. A 7.0 of a restored grade is not going to be as desirable or valuable as a 7.0 of a non-restored grade. It's a nice way to get into a good-looking book cheaper, because the restored is cheaper for that grade. And if that's what you're into, if that's all you care about, then that is great. But it's not something that can be done by cleaning and pressing services or things that I do. But that's it for now. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. What do you think about restoration and those sorts of things? And we'll catch you soon. Bye. This video was brought to you by Titan Comic Pressing. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Titan Comic Pressing LLC.